I know it's a little bit late. I just caught the interview with Steve Smidt and David Packman, and the very beginning of it was very interesting. Uh, Steve Smith's talking about how he's worried about violence. That he did the Lincoln Republicans, and that was pretty cool. He talked about how he worries that there could be violence against him, and how Trump talking about repercussions and all that it could be violence. And Pac-Man talked about how basically accelerationism, which I've talked about here. I'm a big time accelerationist. I don't believe in belief. I think that for most Americans, they see themselves as the billionaire without the money, and I know that that's ridiculous. I know that all these billionaires come from money. I've talked about Bill Gates and Elon Musk. Daddy owned a mine in South Africa, and you have more in common with the hobo on the street than you ever have in common with these people. Period. They didn't just pull $1 billion out there behind. Now, accelerationism means that the world has to get worse for people to realize the seriousness of climate change, the seriousness of other issues, that they're not going to believe. I don't believe in belief. I don't believe I can reason these things, or that people are just going to become more open to it. Things have to get worse, where you're looking at wildfires in Siberia, where you're looking at 100-degree temperature water out off the coast of Florida. That's the beginning of what I'm talking about. That's accelerationism, where you can go out there and that water is almost burning you. Yes, that. They got into. They were speaking in regards to Republicans that have done good. Schwarzenegger being the governor of California, Republican, and he created some of the best greenhouse gas laws in the nation for the state of California. And he talked about other things Republicans have done in the past that was good. Oh, the Montreal. Remember when if you remember back in the day, they had the refrigerants, the chemicals in the refrigerant, CFO or whatever, that when it goes out into the environment, it was creating a hole in the ozone layer. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like 3rd grade, 5th grade. I remember reading about that, learning about it, that basically, they got together and the ozone layer is healing. It's pretty much healed now. A couple of things. I like history. It's good to know history. That's great. That's great. California is and will probably always be environmentally concerned because of the fact of where they live, and just that's the way it's always been. They are very environmentally concerned, about the environment. It's good Schwarzenegger did that, but we're talking about federal power. Also, the Montreal Protocol, the CFO stuff, the refrigerants, that was the entire world. So it wasn't like America just said, okay, let's do this. Like, it was other countries that came together in Montreal, and America. That wasn't about America leading. I want to be clear about it. That wasn't America leading the way. So this idea of Republicans ever being that way, I call BS. And I think that was an era where they could BS people about it not being real, climate change not being. And I also feel like that's not climate change. CFO, refrigerants is not climate change. Pollution is not climate change. These are niche issues in regards to certain kind of chemicals in certain kind of areas. These are local, regional issues. Climate change is a global problem. And I think that now we're in an era to where it's inconvenient. So back when I was a kid, I used to, I remember Republicans coming on TV and debating people on climate change. You don't see that no more. You haven't seen that in the last decade. Why? Because everybody knows it's real. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm only 33. I'm a young person. I don't know anything. But what I've watched in my lifetime, what I've seen shift, what I've seen change, the Republican Party that has less connection to reality and no longer has any interest or any desire to even have these kind of conversations they once did. That's how you wind up with Steve Scalise and Paul Gosar, Martin Taylor Greene, and Lauren Boebert. That's how you get this. They don't care. They're not accountable to anybody. And why should they be? They're not accountable to them. They don't think they are. So all that being the case, this is where that goes. This is what you get. Ridiculous, crazy behaviors. I just, I'd rather them the way they are now. I don't like this idea of people being Republicans and saying like, okay, I know Trump goes too far, but I don't like that. I don't like it. A lot of people got Trump to where he was and legitimized his behavior. In for a penny, in for a pound. There ain't no, I'm a Republican, but I don't agree with this. I'm Republican, but I don't agree with that. There ain't none at this point. You either in it or you're not. Period. You can't ride on the outside of the airplane. You can't hang on to the wing as the plane taxiing up off the tarmac. It doesn't work that way, baby. You got to get in the plane or you got to get off the plane. You can't hold on to the wing. You can't sit on top of the plane. I like it. I like it better when I hear Martin Taylor Greene come out and say, I'm a Christian nationalist. I like that because we know what that means. You can make it sound like it's something simple. We know what it means. It's hate. When Martin Taylor Greene was attacking somebody because they supported gay marriage over 15 years ago. I like that because you see how we've gone from cannibals and abducting children for adrenochrome and Pizzagate. You've gone from all that crazy stuff to going back. We always knew it was always about homophobia. It was never about kids. Never about kids. And we always knew that. And the fact that you're jumping on this person for something that they were for 15 years ago, it reminds me of the fact that they're not really dealing with issues today. They're dealing with our ancestors. They're dealing with issues that happened a long time ago, and they're still pissed off. They're like the guy that's mad about losing a pickup basketball game a week ago. That's them. They're still there. They haven't moved on. So for me, accelerationism is the way of the future. I look at, like I said, wildfires in Siberia, these storms over in Europe. I look at all this as, we looked at the Ukraine thing. They were saying that Russia, Germany was going to be able to have enough fuel to get through the winter and stuff like that. And it was going to be a warm winter because of climate change. Nobody recognized that. Nobody saw that for what that was. That's bad. Just because the climate does something you want it to do, that's not good. Just because it ended off okay, they didn't have like really bad winter. That's still climate change, and it bothers me how much we have normalized and accepted climate change as we're not even acknowledging it. That bothers me. That you're doing all this stuff to change that you wouldn't do 10 years ago. And you're not even acknowledging that. You're just moving right into adaptation. It has to happen. We have to adapt. We have to also acknowledge that, hey, this is not normal. This weather event is strange. These are bad things. Thanks for listening.